I would like to offer some words that relate us to what our global community is commemorating tomorrow and relate that to our practice. Does anybody know what we are celebrating tomorrow? Like a school teacher asking the children. Yes, I see some nods. So I won't put anybody on the spot by noting that it is Earth Day tomorrow. Now, unfortunately, we have had to designate one day of the year as Earth Day, whereas it's really a commemoration that we need to maintain every day. Earth Day, as those of us who may have Googled it will find out, was started in 1970 and in this country by some lawmakers who felt a passion for preserving the earth at that time. And then it soon became a global event from the 1990s on, which is a simple reminder of our community as members of this earth family. It's an obvious fact, but we tend to forget it in the same way as we tend to forget this obvious fact that our life, our whole being is grounded on this event that takes place without our realizing it, this breath. So our Zen practice is an opportunity for us to just be still and pay attention to this very obvious and often neglected but very crucial reality that makes us who we are. This breath with a capital B. We have just sat together for the last 45 minutes or so, and you are all steeped in that breath that we received together in the stillness and which we gave back as we inhaled and exhaled and found ourselves in union with all breathing beings. Let us recall that as we breathe, we of the animal kingdom, we humans also, and also non-human members of this animal kingdom, need oxygen when we breathe in, and we take that oxygen as what our body needs for its processes, and we breathe out chemicals, including carbon dioxide and others that the plant kingdom need and take for their own nourishment in the process of photosynthesis, by which they also exude back oxygen into the atmosphere that we of the animal kingdom take back and receive. So in fact, with each breath, we are engaged in a very intimate exchange of life. Without our realizing it, each breath brings us into an intimate connectedness with all that breathes. And in doing so, we realize that we owe our life to each and everyone and each and everything around us. This afternoon, I was taking my usual walk around our house, around the areas, and I was passing by some bushes. And I noticed that there were some bushes that had been brown and dried up because of the big winter freeze a few weeks ago. But beside them, there were also bushes that were green and lush and now bringing forth new fresh green leaves, and that was a sign of fresh life. And so that was a sign, or that was something that enabled me to rejoice. And I realized I owe my breath to these plants. So that casual way of just walking around and seeing the bushes and seeing the leaves around me enabled me to see that what I breathe out is what they take for their nourishment, and what they give out is what I take for my nourishment. And each one of us is invited to really feel that intimacy with the plant kingdom. And I use the word kingdom, as many of you may have heard me say from previous talks, not as kingdom, but as precisely that realm where each and every one of us belong to one another as kin. We are all kin to one another. And it is this deep sense of kinship that our practice of being still, breathing with awareness, and allowing the mind to be settled at home in the here and now, that opens our heart to that reality of that kingdom. And being opened as such, we are also open to the woundedness of all our fellow members of our kingdom for so many reasons, precisely because we humans have not been able to see that connectedness with one another. We separate ourselves into little groups of us versus them, or I versus the world, or I versus those others, and thereby cause havoc, cause animosity, cause violence that is now being mirrored in the kind of violence in society that we see. So we turn to our practice as a key for us to break down those walls that separate members of the same kingdom from one another and allow us to see again that place where we are most intimately connected. And in doing so, we can begin a new life whereby we are now someone who can embrace the world and who can give back to the world the gift that we receive from the world. And if each one of us, and extending the circle, if each and every one of us who lived on this earth were able to realize that, what a different world this would be, and what a way in which there will be no more violence, there will be no more wars, there will be no more animosities, and we would all celebrate one another's being in a magnificent dance of life. So our practice holds the key to transforming the world and to really celebrating Earth Day every day in a way that we treasure the gifts of Earth, we treasure one another, and continue to live deeply grateful for all these gifts and give one another, give ourselves back to the earth as our gift to the world. So let us continue finding that treasure, that empowerment in our practice of sitting still and breathing and allowing the breath to take power over us and enable us to be someone who can be an agent of that transformation and an agent of healing that the world needs so much right now. Let us return back to the breath in silence and allow it to do its work in us.
All harmful karma ever committed by nations all on account of my weakness, greed, anger, and ignorance. Born of my body, mouth, and consciousness. Now I outgo it all. The four vows of the Bodhisattva. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. The dark gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. The dark gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. The dark gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Mahaprajna Paramita.
Thank you, everyone. Any announcements, Helen?
Announcements. This coming Saturday is our day of Zen. If you haven't registered, please respond to the email that I just sent and you can register there. And then on Sunday will be our precepts study class from 4 to 6 p.m. So just a minor request for tonight. I have to give part 3 of the orientation talk to Daniel Reed. So if you could just exit quietly. Thank you.
Or you may exit with a noise, but exit. Good night.